Well, government has described the outcome of the fishing quota auction a success. Some members of the public have questioned the authenticity of the bidding process. Now, to take us through the measures taken, we are now joined on the line by the Finance Minister, Iipumbu Shiimi. A very good evening, Minister, and thank you so much for making the time to join us.
Good evening, Mr. Shona. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, Minister, there is widespread criticism that the bidding process was flawed and conducted by foreign firms. Can you please just take us through the measures taken through the auction?
Well, I believe the auction process was very transparent, and it was not conducted by foreign firms, but it was conducted by senior officials in the Ministry of Finance, assisted, of course, by the senior officials in the Ministry of Fisheries and the Attorney General's office. So those are the people that prepare the prospectus, which is basically the document that gave information about the type of species that are going to be auctioned and where the documentation can be found, because this documentation called the prospectus was bought by the prospective bidders and the price. So that information set was prepared by the senior officials who were members of that committee.
Well, Minister, is there any information that you are then able to make public just to rest, or have the public themselves then rest assured that this process was indeed fair?
Theo, you are a bit far now. Can you maybe just come closer to the phone?
So let me just repeat myself again.
Yeah.
Is there any information that your ministry can make public for the eyes of the public to ensure, just to rest assure the public that this process was indeed fair?
Yes, the information it's there. As I said, the prospectus was a public document. Everybody was, everybody who wanted to buy that prospectus, this prospectus was available to everybody. The auction was widely publicized, and therefore it was public information. We will also, once we have signed agreements with the successful bidders, also make the names of the successful bidders known to members of the public, and therefore open up the whole process. So there is nothing to fear about how the auction was administered. It was really an open and a transparent process. I also understand there are concerns from some members of the public that there were hidden costs. I can confirm that indeed there were no hidden costs, because this auction was administered internally by people who are already working for government. In other words, staff members of government, and therefore no foreign consultant or no outside consultant was hired, or no, in fact, no consultant at all was hired. These are all staff members of the ministries of Finance and Ministry of Fisheries who administer this process, and therefore no additional cost was incurred. So whatever revenue government is going to generate out of this auction is the revenue that will go to the State Revenue Fund. And we know that the State Revenue Fund, you can only move money out of the State Revenue Fund through an act of Parliament, because money should be voted for in Parliament before any money can be removed from the State Revenue Fund. So that's how transparent the process was, and it will continue to be transparent going forward.
Well, Minister, thank you so much for sharing that and making that clear. And we, of course, do look forward to
Can you come closer again?
Yes, Minister. I was just saying thank you so much for making that clear for us. And we, of course, then do look forward to getting the specific names of the successful bidders and discussing that further with you in future.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for your time. Well, there you have it. That was the Minister of Finance, Iipumbu Shiimi, just clarifying and just explaining the entire bidding process, of course, of the auctioning of the fishing quotas. But that was, of course, by government earlier this month.